Quickly, tell me what you feel when you hear this. Feels like you're going to war, huh? That's what you would be doing if you were part of the Tokyo Manji gang, otherwise known as Toman, a gang that our main protagonist of Tokyo Revengers, Hanagaki Takemichi, is part of. Speaking of Tokyo Revengers, its opening is phenomenal, and it is the topic of this video. As for what makes me qualified to even analyze it, well, apart from being a huge fan to the point of catching up to the manga and a self-proclaimed professional anime OP analysis connoisseur, literally nothing. Also, spoiler warning for the show only, nothing from the manga, I promise, although you should read it when you do get the chance. Regardless, let us begin. From frame 1, we are blinded by a white background, and I want you to remember this part, especially as this opening loves to play with colors, such as the text that appears a second later. Notice how it's not all solid red. The Japanese words say Tokyo Revengers and appears to have a sort of gradient to it, almost like a metallic wall with horizontal lines, like the ones you see on folding garage doors. I'll put an example here. This seems representative of a bloody red spray on the wall, and it's obvious that the bullet hole is what caused this, showing what the general public thinks of gangsters. Nothing but kill-hungry criminals who love to cause harm and run rampant across the city. This is further shown as the opening slowly pans to the city of Tokyo, showing the damage that gangsters cause looming over it. The next shot has our MC Takemichi walking alone in the dark. Notice the coloring with black all around, red looming in the background, and white only being seen on the shirt of a depressed and lonely Takemichi. Notice how the white shirt is also tainted by red, and I know that there's also white light sources, but whatever. Suddenly, with the shift of the camera angle and a shift to Takemichi's depressed phase, we see Naoto starting to walk behind him, representing that yes, Takemichi's sudden power is indeed surprising, but it isn't his alone, and Naoto is there for him. This upcoming battle is not one Takemichi has to take alone. Realizing this, his face changes once more, displaying courage and an almost menacing willpower to go on, as well as Naoto fixing his time, knowing things are about to go down, and he will have Takemichi's back. In true Steins Gate fashion, a bunch of numbers flashes signifying a change of time, and we are presented with Mikey in an almost godly position. The city behind him, the white background showing hope, the wind blowing majestically on him. This is the unstoppable Mikey, the one that runs these streets. Then we get shown Draken, Doraken, however you want to pronounce it, in a black dark alley with light in the background showing how he is the magic behind the god that is Mikey. Attentively, Draken gives us a fierce look while transitioning to a montage of people who Takemichi is fighting for, as shown by another fierce look of him in the darkness reaching out for that white light of hope. However, failing to obtain it, it leads to a dark and gritty montage juxtaposing the bright and hopeful one we just had. This theme of failure is predominant throughout the opening since it represents what Takemichi has to go through in the anime, since we all know he's been through a lot of failures. Speaking of failures, a desperate Takemichi drags his feet through a downpour of rain, reminiscing all his failures, all the people he let die, but then suddenly looks up to see Toman standing there as if it's a beacon of hope, as even in the darkness, their glow still shines brightly. However, this almost godly presence gets swept away by the dark grasp of the main villain, Kisaki, while Takemichi lights up the room with a fiery red flame behind him as he throws a punch knowing Kisaki damn well deserves it. Unfortunately, he fails again and is sent flying with that brief fiery rage and that sliver of white hope fading away. We turn to an adult Takemichi again in the ring, contemplating his failure, but as always gathering his courage to keep going on. A direct parallel to the other reigning scene with him. Once more with his regained courage, he reaches out to Tachibana, who is surrounded by darkness as Takemichi tries to grab that sliver of hope in the dark place. Apparently failing once again, and as any human would be, he is desperate. Takemichi is on the floor crying, but as stated earlier, Naoto is always there and he will have Takemichi's back. With a confident, comforting, and empathetic look, Naoto sends Takemichi back in time once more. The numbers flash us once more. He becomes a teenager once more, but oddly enough we see him surprised, then happy. Takemichi realizes that his answer is right in front of him. His answer is the light of hope Toman has and the godly forces that drive this gang. And for one last time, He runs, but not into darkness, desperately trying to solve his problems, but rather to that light that Mikey and Draken have behind them, as they are the leader of Atonement, and that's the same light that shines over the city of Tokyo Revengers. Well, that does it. As a self-proclaimed professional anime OP analysis connoisseur, I'm always amazed what a minute and 30-second opening can do, and this is no exception. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, let me know how wrong I am in the comments, and subscribe for more content like this as well as many other genres. And yeah, thank you, have a good day.